Hello, everyone. I want to welcome you to an Atlassian Community Event here at Marriott Vacations Worldwide. We're happy to host this today. My name is James Bruno. You'll hear people call me Bruno. You'll hear people call me James. You can call me either one. I got together with the Atlassian community a little while ago. The reason I did it, I'll have to tell you a little story about why I did it. So let's go back about 10 years. I came into Marriott Vacations and I was a business analyst on a team where they tossed me into a room full of tenured business stakeholders with some technical people, some user interface people, some developers, some database folks. And I was supposed to gather all these requirements in 2 weeks, 10 days, 8 hours a day, gather all the requirements. And all we had was Excel and Word. I did it. I was able to gather all the requirements. I put them into this 90-page document, and half of them were wrong. So that was my first big challenge. I wanted to be able to separate the business requirements from the technical requirements. And that was my big epiphany. I realized that the company was wasting a whole lot of money each time they go in and they get the requirements and they build in all of the technical stuff right in with the business requirements. And then they turn around and go back to the business the next time they want to use a different technology. So we're just wasting organizational assets, which is dollar signs. So I figured, I talked to my boss. I said, hey, why don't we separate the business from the technical? And they bought into it. So we started doing it. We did the business side and we did the technical side. And then I realized, well, now we can mine the business requirements whenever we need to do something different. So we can go back and we look at those business requirements and we want to do a new project, different technology, but we got the same business requirements. So we could go back in and do those. So we separated them. Now, the big problem was, how do we find all those requirements in those business requirements that we separated out? And that's when I started to explore a little bit of stuff that was happening with Atlassian. And I wasn't really sure what all Atlassian was offering. So I went to this Atlassian community event and I met Tyler, Riley, and Zach. And they started telling me stories about the things they were working on, the different tools and whatnot. And I went back again. And then they started telling me about this thing with the AI, that the AI could go in and look at all of your business requirements and you can ask it questions about it. And then it would bring back information. Well, it really wasn't a complete picture, and I don't think Rovo was completely developed at that particular time. So when I got the opportunity to have them come here and sponsor an event here at MVW, I jumped at it. So I spoke with Zach. He got things set up. And right now, let me just have Zach come up here and tell you about the Atlassian community and the things that they do, what they're all about.
Everybody give it up for James. Yeah. James is the best. Thank you, James, for helping us get this venue. My name's Zach. I'm one of the co-leaders of the Orlando Atlassian community. I've got Riley over there. He's another co-leader of the Orlando Atlassian community. And then we've got Tyler at check-in. Great to see everybody here. We see some familiar faces as well. Just want to tell you a little bit more about the Atlassian community, and then we'll go from there. We'll hand it over to Sanjay. So the agenda for today, we'll go over into a Rovo presentation from Sanjay over there. Then we'll touch on some Team 25 updates, and we'll give out some prizes. Team 25 is Atlassian's flagship event. Lots of great announcements that happened over the past week. We'll be giving out 2 $50 gift cards and then some Atlassian swag as well. And then we'll end it with more networking, more booze, more food. It'll be great. Everybody loves that. And then a little bit about the Atlassian community. So we are a global network of passionate users and experts. We are led by local volunteer leaders who love Atlassian products, and we host in-person and virtual events year-round. Now, we cover everything from Jira and Confluence to Rovo, Compass, and beyond. And the Atlassian community is a great place to ask questions, share best practices, and level up your skills. Now, we're open to all levels, from new users to seasoned admins or executives. And you can join the Orlando Atlassian chapter at ace.atlassian.com/Orlando, or you can follow our LinkedIn page, linkedin.com/company/Orlando Ace. So thank you all again for being here, and we are excited to get started. So a little bit about our sponsors. We've got Atlas Bench. They're an Atlassian solution partner based in St. Petersburg, Florida. They do everything from large-scale implementations of the Atlassian products. They're experts in Rovo, which we'll be going over today. We have Apps Delivered. They are an Atlassian marketplace company. If you're familiar with Jira, creating repetitive issues can be pretty annoying. What Apps Delivered does is they have an app called Smart Issue Templates for Jira that basically automates the Jira issue creation process. So you can trial that on the marketplace, and we can also work with them to get you a discount on that app as well. And then we have Await.ai as a sponsor. They are an AI governance platform. They do on-premise and cloud deployments, and they're all focused around governing the outputs that come from AI so they don't say the wrong thing. So now we're going to hand it over to Sanjay.
First of all, thank you, James. This wonderful venue and having me here to talk about Atlassian and Rovo. Thanks, Zach and Riley. We've been in touch for a while, and I really appreciate the invite and talk again to the community. I do talk with a lot of customers, community leaders, users, admins, buyers, and this is one of the highlights of what I do. So I do focus on Rovo. I do focus on our AI solution, but any other Atlassian products all up, I'm happy to kind of find the right people, the right experts as you go in. This is Orlando Ace sort of Rovo World Tour. There have been multiple events. This, I think, is the first one after Team 25. So let's start with introductions, right? So a little bit about me. As I said, I've been in technology. A lot of people here have been working in technology for a while, building products and platforms in general. I was various places building out, kind of try and stay current with the technology. I work with customers, so I have sort of that balance of building the products and selling the products and finding the right balance of customer solutions to their business problems and the product prioritization, if you will. I've been working last 2.5 years in generative AI. I've been very fortunate to kind of get hands-on with Gen AI very, very early. And it's been a journey and it's been amazing. Early days, what you could do, and you were like amazed. You look back and it was pretty, if you look at the quality of the pictures it was generating. I was going to actually almost post a picture there, but currently I'm working at Atlassian as the Rovo on the Rovo GTM team. I do use AI at work a lot. And of course, in personal life, I do use ChatGPT, some Gemini, Copilot. I've had a lot of experience with Copilot as well. You can look me up. I'd love to connect after the event and after that as well. So let's get to know all of you. How many of you use generative AI regularly? How many times a week do you use it? 10, 20, 100? Do you always know that you're using it? Most of the time. All right. What's the favorite Gen AI tool at work?
I don't compete. So literally, I use them.
All right. Anyone else?
I can't go back and forth, but
All right. Favorite Gen AI tool for personal use? Oh, okay. Anyone else? I didn't know there was a still GPT, but how many here are Atlassian admins? All right. I want to talk to you. Atlassian users. Pretty much, I would think. IT decision makers. There's a fair bunch here. AI strategist. I know it's a kind of, I also teeter on the border of AI strategist. So all right. your favorite Atlassian tool? I'll be done in a minute. All right, I'm just gonna be done and walk away. Why is the Rovo guy here? Yeah. All right. How many of you attended Team 25? I know 2, 3, 4.
Yep.
And this was, by the way, my first Team 25 as well. I was telling Zach earlier, I absolutely did not have time to breathe. I got to meet so many customers, a lot of coworkers that I had not met in person. But the best part was some of the agent building workshops that we did. The light bulb goes on, right? I mean, folks who use custom GPTs and kind of have hands-on, but then you kind of take another layer into it and we'll go there into that Forge type of custom builds. All right. So really the agenda, Atlassian and Rovo, talk about sort of the market opportunities, a little bit of a Rovo deep dive. I have use case demos and I also want to talk to you and really we can have a conversation, even build something if we can. Then this happened. Last week at Team Anaheim, this was announced. The teamwork collection and the overall ecosystem, how everything fits together for system of work was announced last week. And of course, we can go into the details as needed, and I can talk to that middle piece, of course. But the main takeaway was this. So for Jira, Confluence, and JSM users, Rovo is going to be included in some of the entitlements. And again, there are details, we can talk about that. But this, to me, was the most exciting announcement, obviously, because I work on the product, but also it sort of resonated with customers and users because that primary blocker of, hey, my organization needs to buy it and I need to then have the ability to look at something and even see the potential or align that with my use cases and our blockers and our business problems. That kind of went away. Let's talk about Rovo, flip the script a little bit and do Q&A ahead of time. So a lot of people may have questions about Rovo, the new announcements. I will answer as many questions as I can. I will take away the ones I cannot answer, and I will follow up with you guys. Because as fast as we are moving, we also don't want to mislead anyone with the sort of fast moving thing. So I want to validate in case I can't answer. And I still want to talk about how we lead with AI, right? James was telling me earlier, he gets 5 emails a day about, hey, try our AI, try our chat bot, all of these. And it is, I get it. Everyone is leading with AI, but what's the right solution for you and where? So 2 things, and we'll talk a little bit more, and I will try and show a demo if my laptop, the Cloudflare, doesn't flare up. All right, a little bit about Rovo chat, search, chat, and agents. So this is where the big announcement was, right? So we branded things as apps, but people who are used to, Rovo specific or have looked at Rovo, a lot of it doesn't change. What it means is you have a search app, you have the chat app, and you have Studio, which is our low-code, no-code agent building platform. Search is now a Rovo app. What does that mean? You can use an extension to search for content, knowledge management through first-party and third-party apps. So if you are actually, what do you have? SharePoint, right? You have Microsoft Shop. So you have SharePoint content, you have Slack content, you have Teams content, and I'll go through, there's about 50 of them now. But through frictionless out-of-box connectors, you can ingest content into Atlassian's graph, and you can search first-party and third-party content alongside. So if you look at the sort of over here, there's a query, and once it gives you the results, it gives you different results. Here are the various sort of 3P connectors and content that it's looking for. And here's about 50 connectors. There's a whole list, and it should be live on our external website. There's James. I do want to ask folks here, are there any connectors here that your team and your organization primarily use? Teams, Google Drive. Okay. So this is great. I mean, and then this is one of the things too. And so I was telling James, if you don't see something listed here, there's ways to build connectors, right? These are out-of-box frictionless connectors. Demo permitting, I can show you how easy it is to configure one if you haven't already. But that kind of gets you time to value sooner than having to code it and maintain it. So before you explore building one, connect with Atlassian folks because there might be something coming up in our roadmap. I will save you a lot of hassle. There are partners, they also build connectors. The chat app, right? The chat itself, it will give you sort of the features and capabilities that are beyond search. So here it shows a bar chart creation. Chat is multi-turn, so it will keep the context for the previous query. Chat is another app, and I'll show you how it presents itself in that little picture there, but I'll show you how it works. We also have deep research that will be coming up. What deep research will allow you to do is any topic that you're working on allows you to sort of, and I'll let the animation play, but it's going to go through the in-depth understanding of each one of the outputs, if you will. Rovo Studio is that sort of low-code, no-code builder. And here, actually, if there's interest and if we have time, we can build an agent based on everybody's input. The Atlassian Rovo agents. We have a large library of Atlassian-built agents. There's dev agents that are coming up recently. There's a whole library based on the jobs that customers tell us and how they are being done. I can also show you a prompt in one. If a particular agent is close enough to the types of job that are being done, but not exactly, you can copy it and sort of modify it. The other way is to build it from scratch through low code, no code. And that's the one we'll try and build today. And of course, there's developer build. And earlier I was talking about similar to connectors, you can have agents that are very bespoke, pro code, that will include, let's say, very custom actions that are not available in the platform, et cetera, et cetera. So those are the kind of offerings for agents you have. A little bit about Rovo. And again, this is a bit more detailed and I have a lot more detail coming up because I think someone was talking about it earlier. But think about it this way, right? And a teamwork graph, you'll hear about it if you haven't already. So all of this is powered by Teamwork Graph. Rovo is an extensible end-to-end solution with extensibility. And the extensibility matters because the AI solutions these days, if you look at it, and this is not mine, but someone said it and it resonated really well with me. AI solutions are like streaming services. You can't just have one. Every household has to have more than one. It's the same with AI, and you're going to have multiple of these, but what fits the job and the outcomes and the problems you're trying to solve? And the second part is, how does it play well with others? That is also a key consideration for business decision makers and the users. So extensibility matters. Secure and compliance by design. And this is a big one, especially for the organizations. We work with a lot of organizations, as you can imagine, whether it's financial, healthcare, various types. Security, compliance, privacy, permissioning, trust matters. So this is a big one that's baked into our foundational needs. The one top left is the AI capabilities in the flow of your work, and we'll show you how it works. We talked about agents and connectors, so I'm not gonna. This is that little bit more detailed. If you look at the different capabilities, they're built on the automation platform and the overall platform that includes automation, that includes our Forge capabilities, the platform APIs. The key here, to your point, was we have multi-model support. So if you look at Gemini, if you look at Mistral, OpenAI, all of these models are being supported, and our orchestrator will sort of divert the query based on the job that's optimized for. So it will optimize that under the hood. We talked about security compliance and our teamwork graph, which I'll go into a little bit more. Here, and look, this is, I not a sales guy, right? But the true advantage and differentiator for Rovo, and I've worked on a lot of Gen AI in prior to Atlassian. The one on that side, AI features in the flow of your work. That to me, I think is a key differentiator. The one here in the middle, platform and teamwork graph, that is real. First party native advantage is real for anyone for the particular jobs to be done. And we'll talk about that in a minute. And, obviously the distribution now, because Rovo is included in your entitlements, that helps. I mean, we talk about leading with AI, right? I went to one of the conferences, and this is literally every booth has this, like, oh, AI has to be deliberately called out somewhere prominently front and center, right? If you look at where the AI investments are being made, especially organizationally for solution providers, the sort of software engineering for back office corporate IT, for product development, operations, product R&D, that right there is where the bulk of money is being invested from C-suite these days. So if we take a look at, and this is, let's bring it back to Atlassian, because this community, these are the jobs that really are primary for most of the folks and most of the teams that use Atlassian. Are there any other jobs that you can think of, other areas, let's just say broadly even, that are not listed here?
Collaborate,
Okay.
human collaboration side that you could just or whatever, anything that's kind of really keeps
I'll keep that in mind.
to solve this issue.
Okay. I'd love to learn more as well. How many here know about Teamwork Graph or have heard about Teamwork Graph? Okay. So Teamwork Graph, it's not a distinct concept, right? So for search and all this, if you look at Google has a graph, graph is essentially an intelligent data layer that has not only the data or the metadata, it also has the relationships, it has signals, it has sort of actions, everything captured when the users and the teams work on it. So it has deeper understanding of your data, your team, your relationships, the actions you perform within Jira and within Confluence and all the other Atlassian tools. And the reason this is a differentiator and the reason that this is the foundational piece for everything is really how it will give you more relevant answers. It can reason over better content and has better contextual understanding of your content. So if you look at, hey, here's a prompt, I'm not going to read through it, but it talks about your team finished a sprint, completed epic, and closed 3 bugs. There's nothing wrong with that, right? And this is where I want you to think about that, the first party advantage. The response here is so much richer because we do have that first party signals, rich first party signals that we can reason over and provide that information for you.
Can you just differentiate first party, third party, exactly what you?
So first party is the Atlassian products. So when you are writing something in Confluence, I heard Confluence was your favorite tool. So when you write you're writing a one pager in Confluence, requirements and whatnot, and you come in and start making comments or you collaborate on that, somebody views it, it is the most viewed requirements document because it's, you wrote it.
Oh, yeah.
But when people are looking for it, it's not doing a lexical search, the relevance ranking. So that's the first party products, the 1P native advantage I keep talking about. Now you also use Microsoft and Copilot and Teams. And now the connectors that you saw, the third party data, the connector will index the third party content and all the available and potentially possible data into the Teamwork Graph. but we may not have as rich signals for that as we have for Atlassian products because the APIs don't surface them. Sometimes semantic index from 3P is not available. So that relevance around the natural language / intent based may not surface from third party as rich as,
A user that's in Slack.
and and that's just it. Like if you, and this is where, I had an opportunity to talk to a bunch of execs Monday, Tuesday, and everyone's investing in AI. Everyone's invested, like, you would say, hey, I can write a custom GPT. Well, what's the big deal? But the custom GPT is not going to have the ability to pull the level of detail that we can provide with first party here. So that's what I mean by the advantage. It's every organization and every exec and every user and every admin we talk to, everybody wants to know their data is secure, they can trust, permissioning models are being respected. We lead with that. So here are a couple considerations. We know search, enterprise search, a unified search is the fastest time to value, and the unified search matters. There's studies upon studies. My prior life, I was in search, so I can talk about it ad nauseum. Search is important. So the other part is the agents. The agent core use cases. And core is the part and edge use cases, both of them. But core use cases are going to give you a reason to bring in Atlassian and non-Atlassian content. Number three is important, right? Like, let's take that example of you writing a custom GPT, but how are you going to then surface that? What's the entry point for the user? Now you have to create an entry point. You have to build some kind of web page or insert it somewhere else. That in your flow, the habitual part, you are used to coming in here and typing this every morning, your intranet, whatever it might be. That is key to adoption. And content generation and retrieval isn't enough anymore. It's a party trick now, right? Like, hey, ChatGPT, tell me this. I'm planning a trip to Orlando for a Rovo Ace Roadshow. It can tell that's not, it is how it helps you do particular jobs and do it well with authority and confidence. That matters now. So we'll talk about a couple of use cases here. How many folks work in product development? Oh, how many work in customer service, ITSM, CSM? Okay. So I want to run through this really quickly because I do want to spend time on demo and building agent and kind of talking through. If you look at it, really, there's a lot of tools that will give you code generation, right? There are various tools, but the real challenge is not that, is the entirety of delivery lifecycle. So it's across the board. If you look at setting the strategy and goals, and this is where, this is the Atlassian slide. So these are the Atlassian products it can talk about. But think about it this way. This is a typical SDLC workflow. So if you look at, hey, product owner, and relate this to anything really, you're going through 20 tickets, you're going through 50 tickets, you're going through 100 tickets, 100 stories. How long is that going to take for product owner? How is an epic translating into right stories? What is the right size of epic versus a story? What is Scrum Master doing to make sure the backlog is groomed properly or the right story is at the right level? And if you look at it, it takes a long time for a lot of these things to do. So the efficiency gains for all of these jobs to be done through Rovo is something we expect now, right? So if you look at the same workflow, the real challenge is not, of course, there's a challenge to say, oh, how am I going to read 100 tickets and go through and triage them and categorize them and hand it over to you when it's security related, hand it over to you when it's UX and design. But it's also when it gets handed over, how are you going to write a story that standardizes test cases, that has all the acceptance criteria, that has all the organizational or team requirements. I want a good story. So I can hand it over to developer, I can send it to offshore, I can do all of these things. This is where the real challenge is. That's where the real delays are. And what we have, and these are out-of-box agents. Of course, you can write agents for the other things too, but the out-of-box agents, the Jira Team Analyzer, for example, and I'll show you, is it actually will reason over unstructured content and it will categorize these tickets so they can be handed over and automated. And there's a readiness checker out-of-box agent that actually will check a structure of a Jira story. Now you can act, and I've done this for a lot of customers. You can be as broad as make sure it has readiness criteria and these 5 other things. It could be as prescriptive as make sure everything in my organization that gets produced is compliant with ISO 9001. Like you can be very, very prescriptive with those standards. And so it will do that for you. And that's time savings. So how many in operations and ITSM? If not, we can go to a demo. See where the wait times are for, right? I mean, this is really the work's half done, the light communication. Handoffs is the biggest one, relearning. And then there's tools for that. JSM does a good job about that. And building sort of better customer service workflow. You have understanding the idea how it can progress in a life cycle. And a lot of these, when it says support agent, this is the live agent, right? So you can see the typical workflow where customer open a request, it gets triage categorized. The support agent can perform various actions based on collaboration. And the pain points are truly right here. It's not knowing what exactly the problem was 3 months ago. And, some of the tools do that. But when the customer comes in, how many times have you been sort of transferred over and was like, oh, I have to tell them everything again? A lot of these things that we can solve with SM plus Rovo, right? When you open a request or when you're doing, it's like Netflix show. If you look at previously on so-and-so, or it gives you a little recap. So as soon as that ticket gets handed over to you, it is being sort of played by the Rovo agent. It will tell you exactly what happened because it's synthesizing all the unstructured content. It will categorize and route work. That again is fairly straightforward. The collaboration, the product knowledge expert, again, you can ask a Rovo agent, this is the problem, natural language, what did we see or what is the solution? And it will tell you. There's automation, the librarian agent, it's, knowledge bases everywhere. So there are various sort of agents that you can build to get the work done. Anyway, I do want to sort of start closing down here because I do want to show agent building. I'm not going to go through the details or read everything here. I'll leave it up for a second. I will point out though, this one right here is sort of the pain point most customers have.
First, we have some great updates from Team 25. We just want to run through one slide. As Sanjay said, Rovo is now for everyone. So you have AI search, chat, and agents now built into Jira and Confluence Premium and Enterprise. Rovo dev agents are out as well. We have the code reviewer in Bitbucket and Planner AI, and this helps devs ship faster. As Sanjay also mentioned, we have the teamwork collection. So Jira, Confluence, Loom, plus the AI teamwork agents from Rovo bundled together. It's something very rare. Atlassian does not do that often. So if you're thinking about Loom or upgrading your Jira and Confluence plan, this is a really great opportunity. It's an amazing deal. Just talk to whoever your rep is at your company. And then the strategy collection. So anyone interested in some of the more high-level planning stuff like Jira Align and Focus just came out as well. And then Talent, which is a new workforce planning solution from Atlassian, connects directly to, I believe it's Workday, Riley, and integrates very well with that. So definitely look into the strategy collection. It's like your teamwork collection, but a little bit higher level. Enterprise scale, Jira now supports 100,000 users in the cloud, 150,000 in Confluence, And then there's 40 plus performance and reliability upgrades as well. Now there's also secure cloud options. So we're now FedRAMP moderate in the government cloud, and that is available now. And there is a single tenant isolated cloud that's coming in 2026. And then finally, we have the customer service management app for streamlined support. So whether you like your external facing customer service management solution, there is now an Atlassian app for that. You have Jira Service Management for your more internal support. They're coming out or just came out with the customer service management app. So they like to compare it to something like Zendesk. If you're not feeling good with your current external facing solution, that could be something to look at. Integrates well with Rovo, with the Teamwork Collection, with the Teamwork Graph. So that's the updates from Team 25 that I wanted to touch on for you. And now it's prize time. So we're going to give away 2 $50 Visa gift cards and 3 Atlassian hats. And we're going to pull up the prize wheel here.